Welcome in, everybody. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Glad you could join us this fine Saturday morning. We're here on the Central Coast of California, San Luis Obispo. Wherever you guys are, we hope you're doing really well this morning. Having some coffee, chilling out. I think we have officially hit our fall here on the Central Coast. It is freezing this morning, practically raining on the way down on the grade. And wherever you are, we hope you guys are doing well. Mr. Billy Gibbs is up at Pebble Beach talking about beautiful places, and he's up there for the Pure Insurance Championship impacting the First Tee. And we have a representative from the First Tee Central Coast playing in that. Claire Alford is playing with Jay Haas in the Senior PGA Tournament of Champions, and I just got a report on the way down that Jay shot 2 under, so he's 69, and their team is 4 shots out of the lead. They got to make the cut today to continue playing, but we wish the best to Claire and to Jay. Hope they do really well. And Mr. Gibbs may be calling during the show. He's got a lot going on, a lot of First Tee kids up there from the Central Coast. So joining me in the studio, it's been quite some time, filling in for Mr. Billy Gibbs is Miss Nikki Anderson, traveler extraordinaire. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's always a little excitement when I come in the morning. Never really know what's going to happen when you get into the studio. So I'm trying to learn all the time here. But we're glad to have you guys on, and don't hesitate to call the show at 805-903-1974. What do we have on tap today? Well, Miss Nikki Anderson's been traveling, and so I thought, what better topics to cover than, one, she went to Scotland for almost a month. Was that right?
That's right.
Okay. 2, you were in Scotland to play golf. 3, I think you were in Scotland to sightsee. And 4, I believe you were there for the Solheim Cup, 2019 Solheim Cup. So those are a lot of topics right there.
That's right.
And I thought, I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I would love to hear the adventures you had, the things that were surprising, maybe things you didn't anticipate. And I thought the listeners would want to hear that too, because I've actually had quite a few people in the last couple of weeks, ironically, and maybe it's just because I knew you were in Scotland, they were talking about taking golf trips across seas. When I was at the golf course, or when I was at other golf courses, or I'm talking to friends, they're like, yeah, I think we're going to go do this golf trip. Or some people I knew were like, oh, we're going to go here, and we're going to hit these many golf courses. I'm like, that's just got to be because I know Nikki's in Scotland, because usually it's not like every day I go to work, someone's going, I'm going on a golf trip.
I was channeling.
Yeah, it was like a total channel. It was a big time channel.
So and if you follow Nikki on social media like I do, you could see all these extraordinary pictures that she took, and I mean beautiful shots of the not only the golf courses but castles and landscapes. It was just, you did a great job of covering your trip.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I always
worry I don't want to post too much, ad nauseum, but I like to give like a flavor of where I am.
It almost looked like on some of them that maybe you green screened them.
You know what green screened them? You mean like
you were standing there, but you weren't really there.
Oh.
Like the background was just because
it was a picture.
Because like what Hop said, it was like so
like
beautiful.
A fairy tale background.
Yeah, it was so like perfect. I'm like, I don't know. I think she might be in a studio and like they just put this stuff on the wall, and with all the 3D and everything they can do nowadays with movies, it's like. Yeah, I'm like, that one looks pretty good, but that one, I don't know. There's like no imperfections in that picture at all.
You couldn't believe it. It was amazing. And none of those pictures do you want to touch the saturation level to go up because they're already off the spectrum. Yeah. That is how green it is.
It looked pretty amazing, and I was pretty blown away by it, just like what Hop said. That was amazing. But anyway, so we'll jump into the morning BM here, and I don't know if you have anything, Nikki. I mean, we're doing improv today. We just have topics, and we're kind of flowing with it because I really want to hear all the stuff that you experienced. But I'll jump into the morning BM, and I think that this is a couple things I have that I think are really funny. So my son is 18, recently turned 18, got his driver's license, got out of high school, so it's like the separation is happening. He's off doing his own thing now, which is great. I love it. I mean, he's making his music. He's working. He's going to Cuesta. He's living his life. He's got a girlfriend. He's doing all those things. So as my kids are getting older, my daughter's almost 17, I'm realizing like we live under the same roof, but we don't now. Like they're doing their own thing. So we're kind of going 100 different miles an hour. So about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, Hop, are we this is the 4th week of NFL. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
So 2 weeks ago, he comes up to me at home and he goes, hey, I'm playing fantasy football. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, me and guys got together and we're doing a fantasy football league. Okay. 18 years old, never once in our lifetime have we watched a football game together. Has he said anything to me about football? Has he had any interest in football? Really, in any other sports? I mean, he played some basketball and baseball growing up, but, he was never really like into it. He's really into his music and really into skating and really into the scootering and all the other stuff that he's been doing that's really artistic kind of stuff. But he goes, yeah, you got to see this lineup I've got.
Did you just say, who are you?
I'm looking at him going, I think you're an imposter. Like,
yeah.
You look like my son. He's like, so check this out. So he's running down his list of players. And he goes, did pretty good, didn't I? And I'm looking at his lineup. I'm going, you got a pretty dang solid lineup. Like that's me. Now I've played, and you guys we've joked about it on the air. I mean, I've played fantasy sports forever. Like we talked about the bass fishing and the NASCAR and all this other stuff that when ESPN first started that fantasy stuff out in like I guess it was the early 2000s. And he is now like hooked. So part of the reason he's hooked is because his team is so good. And Hop, do you play any of the fantasy sports at all?
I know the answer to that.
I've dabbled a time or two.
Like I know you and I have talked about the DraftKings stuff, but I'm talking like just a group of guys and you guys do a football draft.
I'm in 2 fantasy football leagues this year. One of my leagues is for here at work, basically, and it's like a lot of the jocks and techs and board ops and things like that, producers. And then the other one is a league I've been in for over 20 years. We have our own trophy. We meet every year.
Wow.
I've been friends with a lot of these guys for a very, very long time, and it's great that we still get together and we still have our live draft, the week before the season every single year. And like I said, it's over 20 years now. So our trophy is officially 20 years old this year. So
wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
cool.
I do play.
That's really cool. Yeah, I have the same group of guys. But unlike you, I was invited to the group about 8 or 9 years ago. So same thing. We go to a guy's house. We do the draft. We do it up. We have all like the appetizers and the beer, and then there's the banter, and then they put a draft board on the wall, and it's on and on and on. But so he literally, Hop, and I don't know which, and I'm only talking to you, Hop, because I know you know the scoring and stuff, but he literally, the first 2 weeks with his team is so good. He's beating everybody by like 60 points. So he scored something like 178 in week 1, which is like really high, even on their scoring scale. And then last week he scored 187. And so now all of his friends who asked him to play, I think they asked him to play because they're like, oh, Noah's never played and we need someone to fill this spot, right? Like they knew he wasn't interested. And now all his friends are like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? So the reason I brought this up, it's so interesting because, I mean, Noah and I have a good relationship already, but now there's like there's just another connectivity.
A new dimension.
When we're going by each other in our busy lives. And he's like, yeah, I'm setting my fantasy lineup, and what do you think about this? And when he thinks, I don't think I should give you any advice. I go, you're doing so well. Like, I don't want to jinx you.
So has he just been in the closet up until now, or is he just awakened?
I think he's awakened to it.
Wow.
And it's really kind of cool. So, it's not like we're sitting down and watching football games, and I don't sit down and watch a lot of football as it is anyway. I'll have, a Sunday off, and I'm usually doing errands or doing yard work or fixing things around the house or whatever, or hanging out with the family. That's the Sunday, and hanging out with family is my wife because my kids are doing their own thing now. So I might watch football for an hour here or half hour there. It's not, I don't usually sit in front of the TV all day. But I'm totally into the fantasy stuff like that, the fantasy football and baseball and golf and all that stuff. So
it sounds like that's a moment that sort of knocked your socks off. Like your son is evolving in ways that you didn't anticipate. Wait, just give it a few years.
Just wait.
Until you're standing in Vegas, with a drink in your hand, with your sports money ready to place a bet because you're there for a weekend, and you look next to the young man who is your son, also with a drink in his hand, looking over his bets that he's going to place, and have that surreal moment about growth and change in life. Good for you, man, and good for him.
Yeah, it's you hit the nail right on the head. That scenario has played in my own head here a couple of times, especially in the last couple of weeks. And I had the same thing with my daughter just a couple of days ago. It's and it's like you guys said, I mean, it's that time of life, but I never thought I'd see that ever. Never ever thought I'd see that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And like you said, Hop, it made me think too, like how fantasy sports or sports like that, how it can bring connectivity, whether it's to your friends or your family or whatever, and how it literally is, it's so ingrained in society now. It's crazy when you really stop and think about it. Like when I was going to Cal Poly back in the early 90s, I mean, none of that stuff existed. It kind of did, but it was more on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like I'm in a baseball league we just finished up, and I got invited to this league too, and these guys are all over the place. I get guys that are in Seattle, Virginia, I think Canada, and there's like 12 of us, and I've been in that league for about 10 years, and there's the banter and all that. And to tie that back to golf, my avatar for all those is Judge Schmales. So all my comments in the bantering on baseball, because these guys can throw out, like, a couple of the guys are lawyers, so they're pretty well, spoken, and they write very well.
Witty.
Very witty. So my responses are always quotes from Caddyshack. All right, there's one guy who I just beat in the playoffs, and then I'm going to probably lose this weekend. But he goes, "I can't believe you beat me. Your team was subpar. It's just not right that your team beat me." And I quoted the scene from when Judge Schmales is getting his shoes shined. Take that cloth and that fine chamois and buff out those marks in my shoes, Sir Winston. That's all I do. I never really kind of expose like myself. It's always a character. It's
That's
always
funny.
Schmales.
Don't you people have homes?
Exactly. And I just laugh. I think it's so dang funny. So, but anyway, that's my BM. I thought it was pretty cool. So just like you guys said, I definitely look forward to the future moments, like you said, Hop, like Vegas and all that stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool. So
Yeah.
Any BM for you?
Well, it's funny that you should say that, because after I came back from Scotland, I went directly to a big family reunion out in Montana. My nephew just graduated from the Montana Highway Patrol. And so everyone got together, and there's 5 kids in my family, and 4 of them all have 2 kids. And so everyone was there. And this is now a group of kids that is between 22 and 35. And to see them all kind of launching out and becoming the people that they are is so fascinating. It's so cool to just sit back and watch that. And I guess that this is the first time I've really felt that. I'm sure my mom and dad had that feeling, because we used to always do family reunions, and they had probably the same feeling of, look at where, the kids are going. But this year we have my first, the first little one of the new generation. My niece had a little girl, so she was there, and she's not even a year old yet. So we're going everywhere with her in the little front pack, and hiking with her and everything. And it was just such a cool thing. It's the same kind of feeling you had of kind of standing back and all of a sudden seeing, wow, this is kind of like evolving.
Yeah, it's wild.
Awesome.
It's all exciting, and then also you realize you're like, wow, man, life is going by fast, like really, really, really fast. So that's why they say you should enjoy the moment. So,
absolutely.
So very, very cool stuff. What we're going to do again, Nikki Anderson in studio with us today. Mr. Billy Gibbs is up at Pebble Beach for the Pure Insurance Championship, impacting the first tee. And hopefully we'll get a call from him, and we'll see how Claire Alford, our participant from the Central Coast First Tee, is playing. And she's paired up with Jay Haas. And I believe I think it's televised, so you guys can view it. It's really cool. They have First Tee participants playing with the senior PGA Tour players yesterday and today. And then they have a cut, and then they'll play again tomorrow. And they interview all the kids on TV, and they're just absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing
I read some of the
adult,
articles.
young kids. Just absolutely unbelievable. So if you guys want to see something really cool, probably on NBC Sports, I would think, or something like that, you'll want to check out the Senior Pure Insurance Championship on TV. And with that, we'll take our first break. We'll come back. We're going to kick off the next segment of the show with Nikki's trip to Scotland, how it started, and what was going on. So you guys stay with us. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy, brought to you by TaylorMade Golf. Check out the latest M5, M6, drivers, fairway woods, hybrids, and irons at TaylorMadeGolf.com today. We'll be right back.
Attention.